I remember years ago listening to movie soundtracks from the likes of Hans Zimmer or Alan Silvestri, Danny Elfman, John Williams, all the kind of big names, and thinking this music is absolutely amazing, and I have no idea how they make it, and I want to learn. And I gotta preface this by saying I'm still learning, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but it's progressing. I started taking the idea that I could produce this kind of music myself seriously around 2019, and it's been a very slow progression since then to get to where I'm at. I want to do a kind of year by year, showing an example of a track each year, and so you can kind of see the progress of how I got from where I started to where the music is now, and hopefully in a few years' time, another one from where it is now to then, because you're never really where you want to be. You're always aiming for a new sound, a new improvement. Something can always be better. At least for me, it feels that way. If you're thinking of getting into this style of music to create some yourself, your progression will likely be a lot faster than mine. Mine was very slow because I made quite a few mistakes. There's definitely a few ways that the process could have been sped up by a few years as to what it took me. I'm going to start back in 2019 and work all the way up to the music today and kind of show the progression year by year. So let's get into Ableton. Here we go. All right, so we're here in Ableton now, and this is a track I made in 2019 where I sampled my own vocal and kind of pitched it and played around with it a bit. And as you can see, the length of it compared to the rest of them, it is what, 4 minutes 40 or something, and it is very loopy after a certain point. But overall, I'm quite happy with the melodic vibe. I'll play it first and then talk about it after, I suppose. And if I skip forward, not much changes towards the end except adding some very MIDI sounding strings. Honestly, I think that track had potential if I had better production skills at the time and I knew a bit more about how to like humanize MIDI strings and different things, and a bit better mixing. The textures are quite nice, and I'm surprised sampling my vocal turned out that well. But yeah, that's not a bad start overall. I don't think the structure obviously needs improving, but off to a decent start in 2019, I think. Now on to 2020. Okay, so far. I like the melodies. Oh, them strings sound so MIDI. I'll skip forward and see how it progresses at the end. Oh, the strings. Not bad. Aside from sounding very computerized, it isn't that bad, really. Um, I don't think I actually, at this point, was using orchestral percussion libraries and all. I think in 2020, I remember getting like Splice orchestral loops and chopping them up just to get the hits because I didn't have any libraries at the time. I think that's what I did with this one. I think I had a bit of an advantage because I learned guitar when I was 11, and it gave me an idea for melodic structure and different things just naturally by ear over time, even though I didn't start music production until around 2011, 2010. But yeah, the melodies are there in these tracks so far. Just some production's not there really. But I would say a slight improvement, and you can see hints of wanting to go in the epic style direction coming in after the first one. That's two genres I kind of always resonated with, was the emotional and the epic. So let's move on now and see what we're at. February 2021 this one was made. Still kind of MIDI sounding strings. This is one tip that will speed up your process a lot. Learn to modulate your strings by automation. The sooner you learn that, the better, especially with this genre. I went years, I think it was like 2023 before I even started doing that. So what, 4 years with MIDI sounding strings and most of the tracks kind of sounding computerized. So yeah, look into that. If you want to speed up the process, there's tip 1 to get you along quicker. I'll skip to the end of this one and see how it progresses. Melodically nice, but the production, it doesn't sound like a real orchestra, not even close. It just sounds like computer instruments. Still getting there. More of an adventure genre, that one. Plus, I think them, whatever brass players are supposedly on this track, have infinite lung capacity. Let's see. Ooh, the next one is Pirates of the Lake. I decided to try remake Pirates of the Caribbean from ear, which I was nowhere near ready for, as you shall hear. This one is actually a step backwards for some reason. So within that year, at least in some tracks, I was going backwards. I made the mistake of not getting lessons and like properly learning the orchestral music earlier on in the journey. The production side of it especially. I spent years just kind of winging it, doing it by ear, but in the end up I was repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, and eventually finding my way to a better sound. But the process could be so much quicker if you found a course or something. There's plenty online if you look into them to speed it up. Next one is Ride the Wave, which I think October 2022. This is also kind of a piratesy sounding track. It's one of my favorite soundtracks, the Pirates. He's a Pirate track. Improvement already. Some pizzicato. It's got a nice bounce. I kind of want to let this one play a bit. Oh, that brass did not help the track. Percussion's kind of rough too, and the brass. The strings in this one are an improvement. I think I started actually humanizing the velocity slightly in them. And now, what is this? Just under 1 year later, I attempted the Pirates of the Caribbean by ear again. I don't know why I didn't look up the actual notation for this and play it properly, but this is where I got by ear with it, and I think I did okay this time round. Although it sounds nothing like the original. Production wise, it's too. You'll hear it. You hear what I mean? That's a big step up from this. Yeah, that's a major step up there in that year. Compared to the original, I didn't even listen to the original when I was making this. I was trying to recall it from memory because it's such a memorable melody. I should have actually listened to it, but would have realized that there's cellos and the lower strings are more present. And but anyway, I think I did an alright job with this. Actually, it's not amazing, but turned out okay. I love that soundtrack. Definitely the percussion could be improved. The original is much more interesting percussion. Mine's is kind of very basic there. But overall, this is where, yeah, the progression is definitely noticeable from previous years. And now we skip forward to July 2024. And this track is called I Have to Act Now. Already you can tell by the waveform itself, although it's a bit overcompressed towards the end, there's more of a structure to this, like a slow build, definitive intro. Yeah, I think I made this, in the title, I have a title trailer as the project file. I was aiming for a trailer structure, so it starts out with Act 1, like Act 2. Damn it. Not bad. And then the ending, or yeah. Yeah, you can hear it start to kind of come together here much better. The percussion blends much better with everything else. The mix is cleaner. Yeah, overall, I really like how this one turned out. At this point, my confidence in my production is increasing a bit, and I'm not doubting every single thing I do. This one's structured like a trailer track, and I'm quite proud of how this one turned out. I would maybe add a bit more variation in these sections, but as you'll hear now, I think it's a step up again, I hope. And I've learned a bit of the trailer structure better from finally looking into it properly and doing a short course and lessons. Short and simple. Let's see, zoom in here. Over. Short, quick intro to grab attention. Act 1, fairly minimal to allow most dialogue. Act 2, slightly more tense, slightly more going on. And then a slight kind of rise drop between each act, and then rise into Act 3, which would be the longest act. And then an epilogue kind of ending that goes on for 4-ish bars. So I've got the structure a bit better here. So let's go to Act 2. Drums are sounding much better. It's coming together, just overall a bit more polished to it, I think, than previous years. And then on to Act 3, the big ending. Yeah, that is my progression over 6 years since 2019 in this genre. I've been very slow with it, but I think you can be quicker. As you can see, it wasn't a straightforward journey going from where I was in 2019 to where I got with the music now, and it probably won't be a straightforward journey from now until where I am in 2030, looking back or whatever. But I think you can get there a lot quicker if you remember a couple of things. Number one, get feedback from people who have made it before and who understand the genre. That will speed up your process so much by picking out mistakes. Like you would have avoided the 3 or 4 years I spent where I didn't add any humanization or modulation to the strings or anything like that. That would save you time right off the bat. Some mixing tips you can get from people would help, and possibly a more affordable option than regularly getting feedback if you have to pay for it from a professional is to get a course. I don't have one, in case you're wondering if that's what I'm trying to do here. I don't have one. I'm just saying there's ones out there. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube as well for free if you follow the right channels. I wouldn't recommend going spending a fortune on courses and all. Find something within your budget from someone reputable, and hopefully that will speed up your process a bit too. I didn't do that enough at the start, and I did buy one eventually, and I didn't put in the time to it. I paid for it and watched a few videos and it kind of just sat there, and that slowed up my process as well. So hopefully with them couple of things you can shorten the time span it took me in them 6 years to something quicker for you. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you maybe learned something, or at least this has been a bit motivational for you to start your journey. Take care.